How you doing, guys? Today I was just responding to a couple questions that I got about how I do my valves. The block was bored. This is the Magnum 10 for the 857. As I indicated in one of my other videos, I got the block back from the machine shop. It's been bored 20, but I do my own valves, and because I do an engine a year, roughly, I rebuild one of these engines a year. I did invest in a new way valve cutting tool. I got this off eBay for 150 bucks used. It was in really minty shape, so I pulled the trigger on it. Typically they're about $300 to $400 brand new. They come with a series of pilots, the wrench end, the cutter wrench, and the cutter head. This one happens to be for a small engine, so it has a 46-degree cutter on one side and a 31-degree cutter on the other side. It's pretty simple in its usage. I've already cut the valve seats with the cutter, so I'm not going to actually turn it, but you get the appropriate pilot, you drop it down into the guide, you tap it into place to the point where it'll basically fit in nice and tight. It just won't spin. Okay, you don't want it to spin in the guide. You take your cutter, you gently drop it over until it hits the valve seat. You take your wrench, you put it on. Basically, it's the male end goes into the female end, and then you turn it in a clockwise fashion smoothly. You don't want it to chatter. You just want it to very gently twist it. I don't put any pressure. I let the cutting bits do the actual surface grinding, and essentially that'll set your angle. Now the Kohler book does indicate that the valve seat here has to be at 44.5 degrees. The valve face is cut to 45 degrees. I know I said this was a 46 degree cutter. I just do it gingerly until I get a nice even cut pattern or grind pattern all the way around the valve. I'll do that for both the intake and the exhaust. The exhaust, I am a little bit more ginger-like because, you know, this is a hardened valve seat in the exhaust for the excessive heat that it sees. So I really don't want to go crazy on the valve seat. I just want to make sure that I have a nice even looking cut pattern. In this case it does. I will fully clean the block from head to toe when I'm ready to, just before I'm going to assemble it. So in other words, I do all this work, I do a full cleaning, and then do the assembly. But I did clean these seats prior to doing the valve grinding with the tool, just with a little bit of brake cleaner and a paper towel. Now once I have that in place, in other words, I have the valve seats cut to where I want them, the next thing to do is to lap the valve. Now in this case I have chosen to go ahead and purchase brand new NOS valves. They are fairly cheap. I think I got them off eBay like I always do, off of every part basically. I hunt around and then find the cheapest price on eBay. I think I paid $9 with free shipping on the intake, and I think I paid $13, which included $13 or $14 including the shipping for the exhaust. I ended up getting it from two different individuals. For lapping the valves, it's pretty simple. Just use some valve grinding compound. As you can tell, I've had this tube forever. The paint and everything's coming off it. I am kind of going through this process right now, so I like to load it up with some valve grinding compound. Just go ahead and I just like to wipe it on my finger here, or use my finger to wipe it around, just to make sure we have some good stuff everywhere. One thing I don't like to do, and I will not do typically, is let the valve slam down onto the face. So I'll catch it with my finger just below the guide, drop it down nice and gently. Take your valve, I guess, grinding tool, if you want to call it. Give it a little lick so you get a little moisture on it. Try to center it to the best of your ability. Push down. Now and then just kind of go like this. I'm not really pushing down too hard. I'm just putting light pressure on it, and then I'll twist it 90 degrees. Do it. Twist it 90 degrees. Twist it 90 degrees. Back and forth, twist it 90 degrees, and I'll just do that process thing I'll do this, twist it 90, twist it 90. So that way, and you can hear the sound change. It doesn't sound as if it's grinding as much. That's telling me that the compound is wearing down, and that's where about where I'm, oh, there's a little extra, I guess, compound. So we'll do that. That's about enough for, and I'll do this probably 2 or 3 times in that fashion. Basically, push up the valve, catch it, pull it out. We're gonna wipe everything down. The best dry. I usually do it dry initially. Just get the bulk of the compound off the part. Put that right there. Wipe the seat out. Okay. Get the bulk of all that stuff out of the way. I'll turn it around. Give it a little shot. Give the paper towel a little shot of brake cleaner, which I just did. And then I'll really wipe out the seat so I can visually inspect it and make sure that we're on the right track. And as you can tell, it does pull off. Do the same with the valve itself. Don't be an idiot like I was one time and I dropped the valve onto the seat and made a big ass ding mark on one of the motors I did years ago. So kind of be careful with that. Alright, now that should be, yeah, alright. Wipe that off with my finger. And now I'm looking at basically the strike mark. Hopefully you can see this. Let me look at my viewfinder. Shoop. How about we do it like that? And basically what I'm looking for is where is it striking. And you can see it's striking pretty much right in the center of the valve face. Hopefully you can see that. And it doesn't look like there's any irregularities in that strike position. It's looking pretty good actually. It's pretty much right in the center. You got to remember when you use that grinding tool, you're basically lowering the valve into the valve area. So that's why you really want to be as gentle as possible with the cutting tool, because you don't want to really sink that valve deep into the block. And we're looking at the valve face here. It looks really good. I don't see anything visually that's bad. So that, yeah, so that looks pretty good. So I would call that, now I've already lapped it like 3 times. That was like the 4th time I lapped it, just to make sure that we really have a good solid seal when we first start it up. You know, it is gonna kind of pound itself once you start running the motor. It's gonna pound itself into position. You just want to try to eliminate as much of it as possible, meaning you just want it to set up as quickly as possible when you do the, you know, you want it to seat as fast as possible, I guess is what I was trying to say in a convoluted manner. Same thing, drop that valve. Oh, well, like I just said, don't like to let it slam, but I just let it slam. So really, basically I'm using my smaller one. This one doesn't tend to work as good. For some reason it doesn't like to. Same process. You can hear the difference, and that's because that hardened valve seat. Where, you know, you're obviously not taking as much material off every time you do this. So we're just going to keep going around, nice and easy with it. I'm rotating it around to make sure that we're cutting on all areas of the valve and the valve face and the valve seat. And that's it. Pop that off, get up underneath it, do the same routine. I like to wipe off the bulk of everything first, like this. Get that out of the way. Get this out of the way, like that. Okay, let's get another paper towel. We can throw that one over there because we ain't going to use that anymore. That in half. We don't need to waste the whole piece of paper towel. Spray it down with a little bit of brake cleaner. Get in there, wipe that seat down nice and clean, or as clean as, so we can do a good visual inspection of it all. Gonna turn that around, hit that with a little more cleaner. Put that right there. valve face off so we can take a look at it. Okay. And I'm gonna, there we go. This one here again, it's pretty tight in the center of that valve. That's what I like to see. Now, like anything else, you know, there's an art to this. Some people would say, well, you're doing it wrong. That's not the way you're supposed to do it. You know, and that might be the case. But I'm looking over everything I see here, and that valve face looks really nice. I'm not even going to do this stuff anymore. I mean, it looks like these are going to seat fine. It's not a race motor, you know what I mean? And it's not a puller motor or anything like that. We're just rebuilding the motor so we can have some fun with it. And with that, the valves are all set. And if they're sunk down just like a thousandth of an inch, which this one might be because I had to use the seat cutter, the New Way tool, a little bit more than the exhaust, we're talking, you know, maybe a thousandth of an inch. I don't even think it would be that. We have the adjustable lifters, and we'll just set the lash. We're gonna have to set the lash no matter what, but we'll do a reset of the valve lash. And this engine, or these valves, should seat fine, it should run fine, and it should have some killer compression. Alright guys, that's my little tidbit of nonsense for this week. Hopefully you found it enjoyable. Hopefully I may have showed you something in general that you could use. If your valve seats look fairly good visually and you don't have the cutting tool, just lap it. I mean, just lap the hell out of them. That's what I've done before I got the tool. That's what I used to do. I just load it up with lapping compound and just lap the shit out of them. Is the only way to really put it. The valve tool, you know, makes things a lot easier if you're going to be doing motors in general on a fairly regular basis. So there you go. Thanks a lot, guys. Thank you for watching. If this is the first time you've been to this channel, please subscribe, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks, guys. Bye.